Good morning, everybody. Shift your mindset here with a new episode. The governing body is being sued. I didn't let you down this week, but I had to bring some bad news about Norway. But sun is shining, weather is fine, and we're gonna end this week with good news. Good news about the truth. I'm bringing you good news. Why? The governing body is being sued. Some friends of mine yesterday morning, they showed me something and I thought, hey, I'm gonna research this, I'm gonna look into it. Still busy with the Norway thing, but now we're busy with the governing body, because the governing body is being sued and it's the Supreme Court of the state of New York against the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York, Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, and John and Jane Doe. The name is not in here from the victim. It's filed by the Zelkin lawyer firm. If you go to the website of the Zelkin lawyers, you know they are busy with Jehovah's Witnesses and victims to come forward. They have a section on their website even about Jehovah's Witnesses. They are gathering cases against the Jehovah's Witnesses. There's another case pending now, but I want to highlight this case because it was most interested for me. Why? I'll explain. So, you are hereby summoned to answer the complaint in this action and to serve a copy of your answer within 20 days after summon. Its summoned date was February 28th. So they have about 4 or 5 days left to reply. It's from the Zelkin law firm. Elizabeth Klein Hiller did this one. And the defendant's address is the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. If you want to visit them, 1 Kings Drive, Tuxedo Park, New York. Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, Patterson, and the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, 765 Red Mills Road, Wallkill. If you know that congregation, let me know in the comments. And John and Jane Doe, of course. The governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. What's it about? Preliminary statement. Difficult word for me. Sexual abuse of minors participating in religious organizational activities is a well-known problem that religious organizations have been aware of for decades. But Jehovah's Witnesses don't do anything about it. Despite widespread reports, investigation, and demands for reform, religious organizations allow the culture of abuse to continue. True. As a result, children continue to be victims of child sexual abuse by church-appointed individuals. The plaintiff, so Jane Doe, is one such victim who was groomed and repeatedly sexually abused by an elder of a local Jehovah's Witness congregation. Took place in Brooklyn, New York, as well as in another state. So, this complaint is filed pursuant to the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection. Then there was an amendment on 2022 on that protection law. And then a whole lot of text is coming. A little background of the victim: born in 1980, a little bit older than me, resident of the state Montana, defendant Watchtower, was and is a non-profit religious corporation organized and existing under and by virtue of the laws of the state of New York. Then a lot of things about the defendant. Defendant governing body. Who is being served? Who is being sued? 8 governing body members. And now it's getting interesting. Because the Zalkin law firm doesn't mess around. If you know it, then you know. The current members of the defendant, the ones who are being sued, and now it's getting fun, is Kenneth E. Cook Jr., Samuel Frederick Hurt, Jeffrey William Jackson, Mark Stephen Lett, Garrett Leusch. And now it's getting interesting, people. Anthony Morris III, Mark Sanderson, David Splain. Those 8 people are sued now by the Supreme Court of New York. We know he's booted out, we know he's kicked out, but Anthony Morris, who's living in a house we all know on Google Maps, is also being sued. So he is not escaping any repercussions. Anthony Morris III is being sued. Then they are thorough as they can be. The current coordinator, Mark Sanderson, is a coordinator of defendant governing body as of October the 1st, 2019. David Splain, 2019. Current coordinator, 2019, Kenneth Cook. Coordinator, Samuel Hurt, William Jackson, Anthony Morris III. At the time of the acts giving rise to the causes of action alleged in this complaint, governing body's principal office and place of business was County of Kings, State of New York. Defendant Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses was a non-profit religious corporation organized by the virtual laws in New York. So, Watchtower, governing body, congregation in Walk Hill are being sued. But the governing body member included, so Jeffrey Winberg is off the hook. That other new thing, that Rumpf guy also, Joe DiGedelli also. This is about the 8 hardcore members we all knew from back in the days. And then it's a lot of the background, the elders, that they get a secret manual. There's a whole background story about that, how someone becomes a writing department, how someone becomes an unbaptized publisher, if they have to keep on tracking their hours in ministry, stuff like that. So I'm gonna put the document in the description. You can read it yourself, maybe with a nice cup of tea outside in the sun, because it's a long document, about 30 pages. But it's getting interested in, and that's what I want to highlight last. First cause of action, violation of the Gender Motivated Violence Act against all defendants, all 8. Plaintiff repeats, reiterates and re-alleges each and every allegation contained in preceding paragraphs of this complaint. Committed, directed, enabled, participated in and conspired in the commission of crimes of violence motivated by gender. By failing to take action to prevent plaintiff from being subjected to repeated violent acts, including abuse and molestation by Watchtower. Governing body. Number 2, second cause of action, negligent supervision. Defendant, watchtower, governing body owed plaintiff a duty of responsible care to protect from injury. So, negligence. Number 3, negligent hiring and retention. The governing body, watchtower, etc. were negligent in appointing and retaining as their agent. Defendant watchtower had actual and constructive notice that Green posed a danger to children and shouldn't have been permitted to engage in Jehovah's Witness activities in close proximity to children, including the plaintiff. So the name is Green, I believe, from the abuser. So, watchtower had actual notice that Green posed a danger to children, and he shouldn't have been permitted to engage in Jehovah's Witness activities and not in the surroundings of children, and that is their negligence. Number 4, negligent failure to warn, train, or educate relating to abuse. We all know the elders are not trained at all in cases of abuse. The Australian Royal Commission also demanded that they were gonna be trained, that they had to take action to be proactive about abuse. The watchtower did nothing. The only thing the elders are doing when they get a case like this is calling the service department. They called that guy Jacob Rumpf, who's now a governing body member. He had all those cases on his desk. But they are not trained at all. So, defendant, watchtower, governing body, etc. and their agents, servants and employees owed a duty of care to plaintiff as more fully alleged above. The duty included the duty to train and educate employees, volunteers, agents, and establish adequate and effective policies and procedures calculated to detect, prevent, and address inappropriate behavior committed by any of its members, but especially its appointed elders. How many times we don't know that there is someone in our congregation who has a history of abuse. The elders aren't trained. They are window washers at day, elders at night. They are not specialized in these kind of situations. They are not specialized in how they have to handle their trauma, asking the right questions, let a child feel comfortable and relaxed and at ease that she or he is opening up about something, that she finds the circumstances safe enough to open up. There is no training. So it's a very good one that this one is also against all defendants, all 8 governing body members. And it's time that they get put with their noses on the facts, that they are negligent in the whole abuse thing. So this is a good thing, people. 5th cause of action, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Defendants, watchtower, governing body, etc. knew, or in the exercise of reasonable care, should have known that their acts and omission as described in this complaint would result in serious emotional distress of plaintiff. Defendants, watchtower, governing body, etc., acted with willful, wanton, reckless, intentional and deliberate disregard for the likelihood that plaintiff would suffer severe emotional stress as a direct and proximate result of the abuse she endured. The conduct, they are not holding back, guys. The conduct of defendants' watchtower, as alleged above, was extreme and outrageous and went beyond all bounds of decency. So, plaintiff suffered severe emotional distress. I like this law firm. They're not holding back and they're saying as we think it is, as we know it is. Sixth one, say abuse and battery. Defendants, watchtower, etc., omissions, negligence, knowing and willful failure to act affirmatively to prevent, detect, report or investigate, aided and abetted green. Defendant, watchtower, failing to respond to the abuse. Once they learned of his abuse, watchtower did nothing. Concealing the abuse and conceal her abuse. And that's how we know watchtower. They want to conceal everything. So, these are all the things. And then we go by the verification. And then it says, this is also interesting. Because I'm not a lawyer, but I'm doing my best, guys. As a result of the contact by watchtower, etc., obligated to expend sums of money for medical treatment, blah 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 blah, for punitive and exemplary damages. Plaintiff demands judgment respectively against the designated defendants on each of the first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth cause of action in a sum that exceeds the jurisdictional limits of a lower courts, including compensatory and punitive damages together with interest cost disbursements pursuant to the cause of action herein. Punitive and exemplary damages. So what's this also about? Besides getting your right against watchtower, what's also here? Punitive damages are the payment that a defendant found guilty of committing a wrong or offense is ordered to pay on top of compensatory damages. They are awarded when compensatory damages, the money given to the injured party, are deemed to be insufficient. So we're talking about big numbers, but punitive damages are going further, because punitive damages are designed especially to punish a defendant whose conduct is considered grossly negligent or intentional. And that's what watchtower does. Intentional, they cover it up. Punitive damages are also exemplary damages. So they are the same. And what is their intent? To set an example to deter others from committing similar acts. So punitive damages are there, and they are big numbers probably, because it sets an example. It sets an example for other organizations, but also for your own organization to not do this again. So they're making an example, they want to make an example of watchtower in this case. So other cases are not concealed. Watchtower would think twice, the elders will think twice to say, oh yeah, no, we don't have two witnesses. Yeah, just pray to Jehovah and everything will be great. No, punitive damages will make sure that this will not happen again, and they will think twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times before they're gonna call the service department, and the service department gives them advice. Maybe the elders are gonna think now and think, yeah, it's okay, I'm responsible, because the congregation is also sued now. And those elders are having brown underwear, I think, because they know what's coming now, and they're coming now also for the elders. It's not only the governing body, but as an elder you also have an obligation to do the right thing. And if you didn't call the police, if you didn't call for an investigation on something, and you covered it up or you sealed the envelope or whatever, then you get these things, punitive damages. So guys, this is good news. I put this document in the description, you can read it yourself. But the governing body, including Anthony Morris, Tony Tight Pants Morris, is getting sued. And whatever happens now, it can be jail time. It can be jail time, guys. But it also can be that they get away with it. But whatever it's gonna be, they are on the radar and they are not untouchable. And now this Zelkin firm, excuse the wind, but Jehovah is agreeing with me. He's let the wind blow through his organization to get rid of the bad fruits. Thank you guys for watching. See each other on the next episode.